The British government buried a report. The report was commissioned by the Home Office, which was to examine the funding of terror and extremist groups in the UK. But instead of revealing the links between Saudi Arabia and terrorism in Britain, the government's decided to bury that report and release a statement instead. Home Secretary Amber Rudd announced the main findings of the internal review into the nature, the scale and the origin of the funding for Islamic terror here in Britain. Here's what she says the report found. Most of the support for Islamic terror groups in the UK comes from small public donations. Some extremist groups pose as charities to increase their credibility. Regulation can improve transparency in these groups. Overseas donations are a significant form of funding for terror groups in the UK. Overseas support has allowed some people to study at deeply conservative Islamic institutions where they become radicalised. Universities are jihad, basically. So in other words, they've spent God knows how much money on a report that tells us nothing new, that the general public don't even know. I've been saying that Islamic groups have been funded by the public and overseas groups for years. I've been saying that the government needs to do more to make this transparent. And I've said that foreign funding is radicalising our kids. Amber Rudd, I'd have sat down with you for free and told you all of this. When the report was commissioned by David Cameron, the government was attempting to discover the extent of funding coming from Saudi Arabia. That's the point in this report. But in May, rumours began that the government didn't want to publish their findings. Last month, a Home Office spokesman told The Guardian that it was likely the contents would never be published because they were very sensitive. And I bet the government found how extensive Saudi's involvement in terror attacks is. It's not like it's a great secret anyway. Saudi leaders have even admitted that they misled the West on terror. Leaked papers from 2009, signed by Hillary Clinton, showed that Saudi Arabia was a critical financial support base for Al-Qaeda, for the Taliban, for all other terrorist groups. Clinton said that donors from Saudi Arabia were the most significant source of funding to Sunni terrorist groups worldwide. Is this what the British government found? Or is there something even more serious they found? Did they only just realise that Qatar, Kuwait, the UAE are all funding terror groups too? In the Home Secretary's summary of the report, the government plans to tackle funding of terror groups were explained. It talked about new public awareness campaigns and telling foundations and trusts to beware of who they're donating to because they might be potentially funding extremist groups. What I don't seem to realise is these groups giving the money, they know exactly who the money's going to. They know exactly who they're funding. They're willingly doing it. I want to save the government some more time and money. I could have told them what the problems were. I can also tell you how to start to solve some of these problems. Shut down the Saudi-funded mosques. Imprison those found to be running charities that are fronts for terror groups. It's not difficult. There's hundreds of them in the UK. The government, you know exactly who they are. And don't just put them in prisons with car thieves so they can radicalise more vulnerable people. Put them in specialist units, in complete isolation, internment. Trace the many small donations made to extremist groups and imprison those willingly donating to them. When you find extremist groups, send in the police. Send in the military if you have to. Shut them down. Oh, and tell us the truth. Tell the public the truth. You can start by releasing the full findings of your report. Thank you for watching. If you like that and you want to see more, click like and subscribe.